Hello, everyone. So, today we have an interesting power chat. And for this power chat, we have a person who coaches executives from Fortune 500 companies. Yes, you heard it right. He is a coach to Fortune 500 executives and multiple CEOs. In fact, Coach Joseph Sudhip, he had worked extensively on various international assignments and has worked in Canada for nearly 10 years. He has coached so many CEOs that for his first book launch, there are 101 CEOs coming to launch his book. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
So let's welcome Coach Joseph Sudhip onto the stage. Hello, sir.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Manju, for having me here today.
Yeah. And congratulations on your first book.
Oh, thank you. It's all you gave the inspiration for my first book. So thanks a
Yeah.
lot for you.
And we are delighted that it is getting published by a US publisher, Aviva in US, and of course in Indian markets by Authorstree. So special congrats for that. It's a tremendous achievement when your book gets published, picked for publishing by a US-based publisher. So congrats, once again.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Manju.
Okay. So, just for our audience, can you please tell us, in short, your journey? I know that you are a person who has done graduation in commerce, and then you had pursued bachelor's of law. Yes, you are a lawyer, and later you started pursuing finance, right? And you were working in MNCs across various countries, including US, Canada, India, and certain other European countries. So, could you please tell us your journey in short, how you moved on from becoming an MNC executive to becoming a leadership whisperer or an executive coach?
All right. Thank you. It's going to be a long story, but I'll try to make it short. By the time I hit, by the time I hit my 40s, I had this 40s syndrome of whether to keep crunching numbers or leverage my great exposure which I have received by God's grace. So that was the reason why. So that's the first reason, and second is I wanted flexibility in my life at this time because I wanted to take care of my aged parents. So this is the two main reasons for looking for other options, and I found that coaching is the best so that I could leverage my experience.
Okay, really interesting, and also touched to hear that era, in this era, we still have people who really care about aged parents. So hats off to you, Coach Sudeep, for that. I think everything comes from the roots. If you remember your roots and respect the elders, right? That's the Eastern culture, not just in India. I think generally in Eastern culture we have that tradition of respecting elders, a tradition of respecting parents. I'm sure their blessings would take you to further heights. There's no doubt about it. The next question I have, I hope it's okay to share with the audience. When you coach CEOs, right? Because people were really curious to know, when you're a coach to CEOs, how do you impress these CEOs? See, CEOs are people who are like the captains of the ship. They are the people who lead companies, right? So when you are having these MNC leaders from the Western world, how do you manage to become a coach to them? I know you have taken certification in coaching, etc., but what makes them respect you so much?
Another interesting question. The thing is, we always think the other side is always greener. But the interesting fact is, those leaders are alone at the top because they need to answer to their stakeholders, to their subordinates, and they're like a sandwich at that stage. And they need someone to open up. They need someone to get third-party perspectives. So this is a very delicate area which CEOs go through. And fortunately, I'm able to get their wavelength so fast because I was second in command in the organization for last 18 years. And I get to know their vibe, their wavelength, what are the pressures they face. So that is what makes me amazingly gel with these CEOs, because I understand what exactly they go through.
Okay. I think since you are the CFO, right? I think you are used to dealing with CEOs a lot. I think that might have helped you get attuned. But I also believe, especially after having interacted with you, I know that you're a very keen observer and a wonderful listener. I suppose these two qualities are also helping you a great deal. Or is it a trade secret that you can't reveal to the audience?
I mean, these may be like some traits which you normally have, which you don't like really observe that you have these traits. But I do agree that I'm mostly a listener and observer. So you had a good insight about me within these a couple of sessions which we had together.
Interesting, Coach Joseph Sudhip. Now we have a question about your book, The Power of Self-Debate in Business Decisions. I have heard about self-debate. I've heard about debates. I think, everyone has heard about debates, debating business decision. But putting these two together in the same sentence, this is something very uncommon. So the power of self-debate in business decision. What made you choose this as the topic of your first ever book?
Yeah, so as you know, since I left my corporate world 3 years back, I was coaching senior executives and CEOs. And I used to have more one-to-one sessions, and I have more than 1,000 hours of coaching hours with me. And there is one thing which was always common when I coached them was there was, we need to sense the mood of these executives. And most of the time when we talk to them for 5 to 10 minutes, we get to feel what is going through inside their mind. And most of the time, it is their self-talks which creates that rhythm for them either to be productive or non-productive. And when they come for coaching sessions, most of the time they would be in this unproductive stage of their self-talk. And so this was so intriguing for me to find out like how I could give them a permanent solution as to from their self-talk what else I could be giving them. And I started my research, and it was almost 3 to 4 years to find out like where exactly the answer is. And finally, my research entered in our own age-old Eastern philosophy, wherein in Tarkashastra, there is, it's called how do you do a tarka or a debate with yourself? And there was that amazing answer, how a self-talk could be transitioned to a self-debate. And that's like a 6-step approach which you have to go through. So that was my prime inspiration to write this, because this is an answer for many, this self-talk, from transition from self-talk to self-debate. And definitely, since I'm a business coach, it is amazingly helpful in business decisions. I've tried it myself, and when I coach, I tell these secrets to the executives, and it has worked for them. So then I thought this is the right time that I should be sharing to the world.
Thank you so much, Coach Sudhip. We have one more question to you, because you said about CEOs and you mentioned about the marrying the Eastern philosophy with the Western acumen, right? Especially about Tarka Shastra. I don't think I have heard of any book like that, using Tarka Shastra for business coaching, etc. So I have this question. I think this question would be running in the minds of most of the audience members as well. Is this book useful only for CEOs? Can we normal people also read this book?
I think the answer is yes, it is not just for CEOs, because end of the day, human beings are of the same genre. They all have self-talks, even if it's a CEO or an entry-level employee. So whoever have self-talk, this book is useful, because everyone's self-talk need to be transitioned to a self-debate to have a meaningful output. So yes, the answer is it is for everyone. And how it is going to help in business is, if you see the another pain point of these CEOs is people are hesitant to take decisions in business. So they always look for the vouching from their superiors. And this is because they have this doubt or uncertainty or this belief factor within themselves that whatever decision they are not taking may not be up to the mark. It's because, again, the self-talk comes into picture. So if they are able to get to these process and then take decisions, that's going to be a long saving of resources within the organizations as well as the community. So even from the entry level people, this would really help.
Thank you so much, Coach Joseph, for clarifying this dot, because when I heard, book released by 101 CEOs and that you are a coach to executives from Fortune 500 companies, you are a coach to CEOs, my worry was this book was only for CEOs, but you have clearly explained that this is something everyone can use, anyone who has a self-talk. I think that would mean even students can actually benefit from it. It's not just in business. Of course, you have used business decisions in your title, but I'm sure anyone who's experiencing self-talk, you can prevent the self-talk from limiting your growth, correct? You can move from self-talk to self-debate and then do the decision-making. I think that's what I understand from what you said. Am I right? And
Yeah,
for that, you have this 6-step. I think this is something like he has researched and found out this step. He was telling me the other day that he has been researching over the last few years, especially while he was coaching the CEOs for the last 3 years. And prior to that, 18 years while he was working in MNCs, 10 years in Canada and in US and other countries. So he has been doing this groundwork for quite a long time. And that is how he came up with the 6-step methodology. I think tomorrow it could be known as Joseph method or maybe Sudhir method. We'll have to cite your book as a reference. I hope you attain that kind of fame. All the best. And I have one more question after this. When you say you are going to launch this book on September 3rd, can you explain to the audience why you chose September 3rd? You know something, when you attended the coaching, I am an author coach, just for the information of audience. So what I do is, after I won Amazon bestselling, I wrote an Amazon bestseller book with Dr. Ashwati, and after that, I got India Top 100 award for authors. I also got featured on Z News, etc. I was asked by a lot of friends, can you help us write a book? And then I turned an author coach. So as part of the author coach, I had been taking 6 batches. Interestingly, Coach Sudhip attended only in May. And when I was coaching him, I told him that I use a method using NLP plus project management. Yes, I'm a PMP professional, so I use that. So I told him that when we estimate the timeline for book launch, better to add some buffer. But immediately he did that assignment, and next day he said, my book launch would be on September 3rd. I said, why September 3rd? Because he was very aggressive with the timelines, and I'm so happy that he made it. So Coach Sudhip, can you explain what is the significance of this September 3rd to our audience?
Yeah, it's simple. It's my 45th birthday. So I think it's 45 is a milestone in anyone's life. So I thought I should be making it memorable. Plus, this should be a gift to my parents too.
Wonderful. You know something? I think he just revealed one of the secrets I teach in my author coaching program. Tie up your goals or your deadlines with something emotional, as in have an emotional connect. When you make it a non-negotiable deadline, automatically your mind will work to make it possible. Because he says it's a gift to his parents. What better gift could a person give to his parents than, dedicate a whole book, that too on business, to his parents, and that too on his 45th birthday. Wonderful, Coach Joseph Sudhip. Now we have 1 minute remaining, and I have some fun questions. It's a rapid fire, so you'll have to you have to be very, very swiftly responding. Is that okay with you? Are you game? Okay.
Yep.
So let's start. Your favorite color?
Blue.
Are you spiritual? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to ask about politics, but he said, don't ask me about politics. I'm skipping that question. Your favorite movie?
Titanic.
Pardon.
Titanic.
Titanic. Okay. Your favorite book?
Measure What Matters by John Doerr.
Okay. The person who inspired you the most?
My dad.
Okay. The business leader whom you really admire?
Tony Robbins.
Okay. What about, okay, I'm not going to put you in a dilemma by saying whom do you like the most, your mom or your wife? I'm not going to do that. But rate yourself. Are you a better son or a better father? It's a fun question.
Better son.
Better son. Okay. I think your children might be watching, so you chose to answer safely. So again, one more question. Are you a better serious business coach or a fun-loving person?
I'm a fun-loving coach because the CEOs are already serious.
Wow. Fun-loving business coach. Now that is what you call as a CEO whisperer. So friends, with this we come to the end of our interview of Joseph Sudhip. Do check out his book, The Power of Self-Debate in Business Decisions. And now the floor is open to questions. You can, some of you have already messaged me some questions in the direct message. Others, you can also put your questions in the comment window on Facebook. I'll be reading it from there. So we'll have 5 minutes, another 4 minutes to finish the questions. So shall I start with the first question that I have received? Okay, the first question is, you are a numbers guy. So why this book on Tarka Shastra and not on numbers? Why is your first book on Tarka Shastra and not on numbers? This is the first question from audience. Mini asked this.
Good question, Mini. As I mentioned, there was a self-debate which happened in my 40s, whether to keep crunching numbers or leverage that experience into coaching. And with that result of the self-debate was I decided to do coaching. And then the most relevant thing which needs to be, which I came across was the self-debate thing, the self-talk which people had. And my answer to the coaching world as well as to everyone is how to transition yourself from self-talk to self-debate.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Coach Sudhip. And we have some messages in the comments window. Dr. Ashwati Rajan says, powerful and insightful interview, great power chat. And we have David joining us all the way, I believe, from Australia. So he says, I'm keenly listening in. He's a veteran Toastmasters, a leader I look up to and respect a lot. So he's also watching. And we have the next question that's on DM direct message again. Coach Sudhip, what would you suggest for future authors who are planning their future book? How to go about writing or sticking to a deadline?
Yeah, I think the first and foremost is make yourself accountable.
Yeah.
And how I made myself accountable is as soon as I decided to write a book and I decided how this should be released, I found out these 101 CEOs and sent them a message to save this date. And maybe the next day my self-talk would be telling, no, this is something we cannot do it. But now it's beyond your hands because you have 101 CEOs, you are accountable to them. You'll have to answer to them. So
yes,
you don't have much choice but to do it.
Yeah. This again is, during the author coaching also, we make all the authors create a Facebook page and declare to the world they are authors. This again is because you're now accountable to the public, right? So you have to answer the 101 CEOs why your book is not ready. But thankfully, you made it possible with your hard work. And we have another question. Dr. Ashwati Rajan asks, what is the most challenging thing you faced during your writing journey and how did you overcome it?
The challenging is more on this going for the perfection. Like, is this right? Is this right? Can I make it better? Do I need to research more? So these thoughts will keep hanging in your mind while you write. And as as Manju in her coaching sessions, you used to tell, okay, it doesn't mean this is going to be the end of the world, but your first book, at least you made it for the first book, and
Yes.
maybe you can perfect in your rest of the books, but just do it.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, that I learned from my guru, Harv Eker, in Success Gyan Seminar. They teach us version 1 is better than none. In fact, I am a perfectionist myself. So what I did for my book, myself and Dr. Ashwati, we announced to the world, we'll be launching the book on August 15th. Now that we announced to the world, and we also did the same thing. We invited several guests, international speakers, etc. So now we were forced to complete the book on time. So if you are actually facing procrastination as one of your challenge, you are not alone. In fact, they say the greatest and the most creative minds always have procrastination as one of their challenges, but turn your weakness into strength. I think that's the lesson we learned from Coach Sudhip. And with this, now we are at the end of this power chat. If you're interested, please come back soon. We will have further, there are few more questions, but in the interest of time, we strictly said it would be 20 minutes and we are at the end of 20 minutes. So other questions, either we'll take it offline or we may have a part 2 in the month of September. So at that time, we will definitely be back. Hopefully, Coach Joseph will allocate us some time to answer his queries. We'll be interviewing further such people, inspiring personalities in these 20-minute chats in the future. So once again, thank you so much for joining. We also have a comment from a person who has won National Award in Teaching from none other than our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, that is Pramila Govindarajulu ma'am. She has mentioned that excellent to see a businessman becoming a coach. From an MNC background, you have become a coach. So she's really appreciative of that.
Thank you.
So yes, I think it's her blessings for you. So with this now, we end this power chat. Thank you, everyone. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more such power chats. And once again, thanks to Coach Joseph and all his friends. Some of them have joined us on Zoom Live as well. Leela ma'am, Jida ma'am, Isaac, Anand, Pramila ma'am, Dr. Ashwati, Kriba, Vila, Mini, lot of other people as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Manju. And I think before we close, you should be telling, like, you had this big aim of making 100 people authors, right? So could you
Yes.
just explain
By
us, like, where
2020.
are you? Yeah, could you just explain us where are you in that journey?
Yeah, I have coached now 6 batches of authors. 7th batch today I have started. And from that, Sudhip is the first person to release his book. Few others are also about to finish their books. So in the upcoming months, they would be doing. And my personal mission is to help 100 authors get published by the year 2025. And parallelly, I also coach young children. 17 young children have become authors in 2022. So hope to coach and help even more people in achieving success. Thank you so much. And we now end this power chat with Coach Sudhip.